Factorio is the undisputed king of automation games. You start off punching rocks in a field like Chris Redfield, and before you even know what happened, 50 hours have gone by, you have an unimaginable number of drones doing your bidding, and you're building a spaceship to civilize the rest of the solar system. It's also a game that has stolen hundreds of hours from me, and today I would like to bring that curse to you by showing you what Factorio is really about, what makes it shine, and whether it's the type of game you would actually enjoy. While Factorio is a game of near infinite complexity, to the point where someone built bloody doom inside of it, that path to utter madness is surprisingly gentle. The start really couldn't be any simpler. You punch rocks, you then use those rocks to create drills that punch rocks for you, and that is it. The game gives you all the time you need to get your bearings. And then, once you're ready, you craft yourself some funky red vials and start researching. This is your tech tree, but also your tutorial, because Factorio's developers are as sneaky as they are clever. They know you'll want all of the cool toys they dangle in front of you, and so they make each subsequent step along the line require a little bit more effort than the one before. And since this is done slowly enough that you never notice the water heating up, you'll be a well-cooked frog by the time you realize the game has helped you advance so much that you can look at a pipe-ridden nightmare like this and go, yeah, that makes sense. And it's like this all the way through. It doesn't matter if you're setting up a simple mining outpost or building the foundations of an interstellar empire. It all starts with just plonking down a couple of buildings and working up from there. The complexity is immense, but it's broken down into hundreds of familiar little pieces. Sort of like how walking involves all of these different muscles and senses, but you do it without thinking because you've spent months faceplanting as a baby until it clicked. And much like the soft carpet of your youth, the thing that makes Factorio so painless to learn is that you're never punished for experimenting and failing. You can be like me and create a train network that has a 90% chance of high-speed collisions despite a dozen reworks. But honestly, that's fine. Just pick up the pieces and try again until it either works or you figure out a way to route around your stupidity. But even if you really mess up, like aliens have eaten my flamethrower turrets and are now having a napalm party in the mining outpost kind of bad, fixing things is super easy. Why? Because resources are effectively infinite. Just produce more stuff, come back armed with a dozen combat drones, bomb the biters until nothing but nondescript goo remains, and then rebuild bigger and better than ever before. And rebuilding is probably something you'll want to do regardless because your first base is going to be garbage. I know this for a fact because I've been playing this game for hundreds of hours and I still create spaghetti nightmares that honestly just kinda make me cringe to even look at. But again, it doesn't matter. They work. They might look like the manifesto of a complete psychopath with no sense of design or beauty, but they got me into space. Factorio thankfully doesn't require you to be perfect. Much like your parents, it just wants you to try your best, even if your best is this. But enough about the big picture. What do you actually do in Factorio? Well, the best way to answer that would be to say that Factorio is actually a puzzle game. Albeit a very weird one where the puzzles are some kind of a Lovecraftian horror that constantly grows new puzzle tentacles. The whole idea is to produce science packs for research, which then unlocks fun toys like trains or drones. But science is not easy. To make the color purple, you need to figure out how to jam train tracks, electric furnaces, and upgrade modules into a single tiny vial, each of which requires its own production chain. So you work backwards from your goal. To make train tracks, you need steel, iron rods, and stone. Stone is easy enough, you just punch the ground. Steel and iron, however, require smelting, and that's a whole new set of buildings. Making iron rods is simple, but that too takes its own batch of buildings. But once everything is ready, you then combine all of those ingredients and voila, you have train tracks. And then you repeat this process for every other ingredient. It sounds like a very complex puzzle, but Factorio breaks all of it into very small, very manageable chunks, so you never have a chance to really panic. You're not thinking about the 50,000 different ingredients that go into the final product. You're just looking at how to make iron go all bendy. And the best thing about this is that the puzzle can be as complex or as simple as you want it to. You can keep your base nice and humble as you explore the game at your own pace. Or you can crank up production until you're pumping out so much iron it starts to look kind of hypnotic. The second will obviously get you all the fancy toys the quickest, but this does come with a catch. And thus enters the previously mentioned Lovecraftian aspect of Factorio. Because if you want to expand your production, you're going to need more resources, which means a new mining outpost. So you have to capture it, secure it, and figure out a way to bring all of it back home, which for me usually involves a dozen train crashes. And then you have to plug all of it into your existing system. But then the beast grows another pair of tentacles. Your belts will hit max capacity and all that extra iron will become useless. So now you need to redesign your base and make it more efficient. But while doing that, you'll realize you can crank up the production even higher if you grabbed another outpost. And whoops, there goes another tentacle. And that's the sort of thing I love about Factorio. Not the tentacles, but rather that it lets you play exactly the way you want it to. And it always scales the challenge and complexity with your ambition. Nobody is forcing you to go big, but going big feels so damn satisfying you'll eventually find yourself wrestling with those tentacles anyway. And, more likely than not, enjoying it. So, is that it? You just keep building progressively bigger and more complicated things? I mean, yeah, pretty much. And I don't mean that as an insult either. Factorio really is about watching your factory grow and spread like a metallic tumor, blighting the land with endless inserters and belts. But what makes that process so exciting, at least to me, is that the game constantly gives you something to chase. Early on, this is very simple automation. The ability to stop handcrafting items and embrace the true purpose of any engineer. To be as lazy as humanly possible while still getting the job done. Then, as you develop, you'll get cars, trains, and tanks. And I don't think I need to explain why blasting aliens apart with uranium-tipped cannon shells is one hell of an afternoon. But it's that next step that really cements Factorio as something special. The moment you unlock drones. If basic automation lets you be lazy, drones let you become the very personification of sloth. You don't need to do anything. Just waggle your sausage fingers and a swarm of worker bees will complete your entire build in seconds. Once you're at that point, expanding your base is as simple as pressing Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. So whatever insane idea crosses your mind, you can instantly realize it. And then also instantly realize why you probably shouldn't have done it. But then you can just press Ctrl-Z and every evidence of your failure will simply disappear, just like the battery charge of your drones. And that's what Factorio was for many years, until the Space Age expansion decided to uplift everything. And I mean that both literally and figuratively. Instead of just slumming it on one biter-infested planet, you can now turn multiple alien civilizations into an endless industrial wasteland, just like God intended. You can also build your own self-sufficient spaceships, and design them as creatively or as abominably ugly as you want, and it just keeps spiraling and spiraling from there. Now, you don't need Space Age to enjoy Factorio, which is why I didn't really spend a lot of time talking about it. But if you find yourself hearing inserters in your dreams, Space Age is a great way to add another 100 hours to your playthrough. But even if you stick to the basics, Factorio is an endless sandbox full of all sorts of mechanical wonders. And also, a lot of space cockroaches. And you know how I mentioned that Factorio has infinite complexity? Well, if you want to guarantee you never leave your house again, you should give its many mods a try. These range from simple cosmetic additions like the awesome Adeptus Mechanicus skin I've been sporting, to complete overhauls that add so much content they might as well be a brand new game. And I only mention it because the quality of these mods is genuinely impressive. There's even a space exploration mod that is bigger in scope and more ambitious than the actual Space Age expansion, though it is also about as simple to get into as real-life space exploration, and probably takes just as long to actually finish. But regardless, it is a great showcase of just what kind of glorious madness Factorio inspires within the people that play it. So once the game has you fully in its tentacles, and trust me, it will, definitely try some of the more outlandish mods. Especially the extra planets, as those are a great weekend snack once you're ready for seconds. And that's Factorio, a game of infinite complexity that's as easy to get sucked into as hard drugs. People don't call it Cracktorio for nothing. So if you enjoy puzzles or problem solving of any kind, then I can wholeheartly recommend it. But if the parade of insanity that is my base has you straddling the proverbial fence, I have some very good news. There is a free demo available, and it's quite a chunky one. So give it a bash and see how long it takes you before you realize your entire afternoon has just disappeared. And that right there is the curse. And now, it's yours. Enjoy. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing, as that really does help me out a lot, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. Bye bye!